here till 9, so I got here a little bit after that workout, but we knew that they were going to put him through an extensive workout till about 3 hours before the game today because he wasn't going to be doing anything in the game. He, along with about 18 starters is the number, won't be playing. But some of the names in there, obviously Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, the names you don't expect to be playing out there, got a pretty extensive workout in, and I think you should. I mean, we saw that. That was what they did in Canton last year before he didn't play in the Hall of Fame game. These reps matter, and as Ben Johnson has said, everything matters in the preseason, which obviously doesn't pertain to starters today because most of them won't be playing. But to get the work in, to maximize that time as much as you can, I think it's important.
Courtney, tell all the people out there listening what your perspective has been about training camp to this point. What have you seen? What have you liked? What is still not settling for you?
I've seen structure, which I think is good, and it's not just the quarterback being forced to play within structure. For the first time really ever in his career, it's the structure of practices, the early morning starts, the 2-hour length. It didn't really take them that long to get at full speed in training camp, which I think is a good thing. And then, of course, I think we're going to be looking back at that moment last Tuesday as this is when it really became real, when the most physical practice that any of us had seen in covering, certainly in my time covering the Bears, my time covering the NFL, I've never seen that much live tackling. And I asked Kevin Byard about that. He's been in the league just as long as I've been covering it, and he said that that was something that felt very different. And that conversation carried over to the locker room where guys were looking around at each other like, yeah, that's real. That's what's up.
And I think it's great.
That's where they want to be intensity-wise, which is different from what we've heard in previous years. You obviously have to be smart about it, but I think for Ben Johnson, he's learning what buttons he can push with players, and I think that there is certainly time required to figure out how far you can get guys to go, what you need to do to get the most out of players, and that was a moment, along with some other moments, kicking the first team out of a drill, day one of practice, calling the offense sloppy last week, speaking through his platform to the locker room. When it's done in that manner, I think sends a strong message, and that's really been different for me observing training camp this year.
I've got two questions
and
here.
I
Number
love
one,
it.
Colston Loveland. Are we expecting him to play today?
That's a hard one to say just because it's like you would say yes because he's a rookie and he hasn't earned that yet. So I would imagine, yes, he will be out there. Same with Luther Burden because they said 9 starters on offense, so it's kind of hard. Who wouldn't be playing among that group? But yeah, I would imagine him and Luther Burden will be playing.
It'll be interesting because he's come off that shoulder injury, but yet he's been participating full go lately. Secondly, what have you seen and heard about Caleb Williams? You're there every practice. You see the ups and the downs. There have been downs, and then there are people who have been saying stuff, including a former Dolphin.
Yeah, so Teron Armstead is not playing in the NFL anymore, but he's here. He's with the Dolphins. He just retired, and he was at practice the other day. Actually, whichever Dolphin corner got hurt in that final red zone period, carried him off the field and onto a Gatorade cooler. But he was on a podcast the other day and talked about Caleb specifically, and he was mentioning how his processing needs to get faster. And he noticed it in watching what Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, some of the blitzes he was dialing up, where Caleb's eyes were and where they were not. And I think that goes in line with what we've been saying. The processing's getting better. When he talks about bursting to the line of scrimmage, it's not just get everybody set. It's to get everybody set and then diagnose what he sees pre-snap from the defense to know, does he have to kill the play? Is there something else in there that he sees that he wants to diagnose pre-snap that he'll have time then to execute before his headset shuts off? There's that. But I also, kind of the reason why you would like to see them in a real game setting, not a practice setting that's scripted where you can start things over if they don't go right on the first go. That processing thing, I think, is what he needs to get better at. And I sat down with Ryan Poles this week. He said that it's getting better. Certainly it's not where it needs to be right now, but that ultimately, he can make the throws. He can make the throws. He can step up in the pocket and do it. We know that he can take off and play backyard football if he has to. It's the diagnosing of a defense that I think needs to get better and has gotten better, but even still seeing a live look of somebody else's defense for the first time, threw an interception on the first play of 11 on 11. Got sacked, would have been sacked twice in the red zone last week or last Friday. So, I mean, there's still things that happened that I think really can take a step up a next level. And we get another chance to see that with Buffalo coming to town, and what I would hope would be him playing in that preseason game.
Yeah, one of the things I saw to kind of add on to that is I think he still has this tendency to eject the pocket too quickly. Instead of climb the pocket, his first, his instinct is to get outside, get a better look at what's going on, his vision improves, and play from the edge. And that's something that's going to have to improve for him. I want to know about your thoughts on the offensive line. Trapillo and Braxton Jones are supposed to play today. Your thoughts on that, and do they have enough healthy bodies on the offensive line to actually play 4 quarters of football?
Theo Benedette will be in there too. That's to like the last part of your question, just because Karan Amagaji's out. And, I think this is kind of the natural way of whittling that down to 2 players, because Karan's going to have missed about a week here. He'd be behind like the 3rd person in that competition. But naturally, those are probably the 2 that you would have expected at the very onset of camp to stand out. The guy who has 40 starts to his name, and the guy that you drafted in the 2nd round expecting to be able to contribute early on. So I would imagine you'll probably see about a half for both. I don't know if they'll end up switching off, like if it'll be like Braxton gets the 1st quarter, Ozzie gets the 2nd, going back and
I hope
forth
Braxton
like
don't
that.
get hurt either, because we need them both,
All said
just
and
in
done, by the
case.
end of
But
this week, I think you should
I will
really-
know.
I know Ben
I
said
think we'll
they're
know,
not
though.
in any hurry, but you want those 5 to play together. And if there's 9 starters
Yeah.
roughly on offense not playing, that the rest of the offensive line, so you're going to have your starting left tackle battle against a bunch of makeshift, a makeshift offensive line. I think that makes it really tricky. The sooner they can get it done, the quicker. But the better. The quicker they can do it. It just it's so hard to establish that continuity with how much they've been rotating those guys in the first team unit. Yeah.
There was a late injury report on Friday, or we learned that Kyler Gordon was out with that hamstring injury.
That one worries me.
That's concerning,
That
isn't it?
absolutely
Yeah,
worries me,
same.
for a number of reasons, because of what happened last year in that game in against Jacksonville. That was a hamstring injury. Now, we don't know the severity of this one, but that kept that one, a player who's dealt with multiple of these over his career in the NFL. Anytime I'm going to hear that about their starting nickel, I'm going to be concerned.
Yeah.
In coupling that with the fact that Jalen Johnson isn't out there and very likely won't see him during training camp, the depth at corner all of a sudden becomes something that is a red flag.
And he just got a new contract as well. All right, Bagent will start today. Like a lot of people like to play up Chicago's love of the backup, but there's some legitimate stuff here from him as a pro. I'm not talking about to test Caleb, but you hear it from Ben Johnson a week ago. Waddle and I saw Bagent in studio, and like he's all in. He works his butt off, and he's become a really solid pro. Don't they like him a lot?
A lot, and that's why I think he's your backup quarterback. I know that Case Keenum's here, and Case is the consummate pro. He's been doing this for his 12th season in the NFL. Bagent can operate this offense the way that Ben wants him to, which is why the praise is so effusive about him playing on time, playing within structure, and also, they've given him a lot. Remember, the quarterback room last year had 4 starts combined, and a lot of that, veteran leadership was on a guy who was a second-year undrafted player from a Division II school. Having Case Keenum in there, I think, not only helps Caleb grow, but it helps your backup grow. And when we know the prevalency of injuries in this league, to have a reliable backup where you're not questioning, okay, well, roll the dice and see how the guy does, I think that really helps this team and this offense be able to continue on. Because, even look at the way that Detroit structured their quarterback room the last couple of years. Not just like Hendon Hooker, but think about who had to take some snaps in the playoff game. Teddy Bridgewater, veteran experience. That is structured specifically to what the head coach is looking for, someone who is capable of operating your offense, even though he's a different quarterback. He doesn't play the backyard football style that Caleb Williams does. He'll never have that athleticism, but he can operate the offense the way Ben wants him to, I think is why you are hearing as much praise around him as there's been.
Any word on whether or not Stevenson will play? Here's a young man trying to reestablish himself. Today would be a good opportunity to get him out there.
I absolutely think he should play today. I kind of feel like you almost have to, just given him and Nashawn Wright are battling not only for that number 2 job, but there's a depth issue right now at corner, and that's I don't feel like you can play with that.
Courtney, anything else? Did we touch on everything?
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a good opportunity for Ben Johnson too. Remember, he's on the sideline, and he calls plays from the sideline. have to do that, to be on the headset and also flipping over to defense now as the head coach and being able to have a say on something. It's not just the operation for the offense and the defense, it's for the head coach too to start getting comfortable with it.
Great work all camp long.
Thank you.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
awesome.
it. Courtney
Thanks,
Cronin
Courtney.
is outstanding at what she does, and we love having her here on the pregame show. Coming up next, we had some interesting guests in our studio, and I want to play you some of the sound that you may have missed, and even if you heard it, it's really good stuff. Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, Ryan Poles. We'll get to all that coming up. It's Bears and Dolphins. We're an hour and 15 minutes away from preseason kickoff number 1 on the Chicago Bears radio network.
Hey Bears fans, it's Sylvie. Steinhoffels is a proud partner of the Chicago Bears, and this season they're teaming up with Special Spaces Illinois to create dream bedrooms for kids battling cancer. Every time the Bears defense causes a false start at home, Steinhoffels donates $1,000 to Special Spaces Illinois. Steinhoffels, now with 7 locations, has Chicagoland's largest selection of furniture and mattresses, all styles, every budget, and they're 100% employee-owned. Shop in-store or online at steinhoffels.com.
Roofers and Waterproofers Local 11 provides quality value and service in all facets of the commercial, industrial, and institutional roofing and waterproofing industry. Promoting skilled craftsmen and craftswomen through apprenticeship training, Local 11 members are trained in the application of the latest roofing and waterproofing techniques. They are at the forefront of design and installation of environmental-friendly solar, green, and garden systems. To find a highly skilled roofing contractor today, go to ChicagoRoofingContractors.org.
Dan from Toyota here, with live coverage of end of summer fun at Toyota's national sales event with my special guest, Eli Manning.
Thanks, Jan. Let's get into it.
Down by the lake for some fishing, we've got Eric in his Tundra. He throws his line, and he's going long.
Heck of a team effort there. That Tundra got him exactly where he needed to be.
Sure was, Eli.
commercials?
Until next time.
Oh, my
go
bad, y'all.
Toyota.
I ain't mean to do it to you. You know, we don't do no commercials. But, you know, put on my Bear stuff. I had to go put on my Bear stuff because it's Bear Sunday. First one. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, man. I don't know about y'all. I don't know how y'all team has done over the weekend. Most of them played. Still quite a few games today. I don't expect us to go to the Super Bowl this year. I'm not naive. However, I do expect us to kick much butt in the NFC North. Now, I know Minnesota has always had these great records, but they still Minnesota. And Detroit is still Detroit. As a matter of fact, they're going down. They're not going to have a good year this year. It might be all right. I don't doubt them too tough, but I don't know what the hell Green Bay got going on. But the reason why I'm saying this, despite how good these teams look on the surface, if you would have looked at the games that we played against them last year, in each one of those, even the losses, obviously, we barely lost those games. They missed field goal or blocked field goal. That was the Green Bay game, but we did beat them the second time around. The Lions game, both of them, we should have beat them. I forgot what happened. Obviously, we lost, but all of those games, and Caleb played great. I think quite a few games, at least three for sure. Within the last 2 minutes, he brought us all the way down, scored, gave us the lead, and somehow we lost the lead. Or in some weird way too, right? Everybody knows the Hail Mary, which ain't the season, but there was also the missed timeout, mismanaged by the coaching staff. So I'm saying that to say, I think our main issue, we lost 3 or 4 games from coaching. So if we have this coaching staff that we have now, that should clean up at least 2 or 3, right? He's still a new coach, so you know he might make a bad call one, but he's been solid. I don't know what to see, or people have been tripping on. I even trust him as far as not letting them boys play today because, you know, I think he's gonna sit. What does he say? I think he's going to sit on the side with Coach, obviously, and Coach and him are going to talk throughout the entire, you know, and he's going to allow him to see it through his eyes and what he would call and why he wanted it done like this, like this. I get it. He's balled out during the practices against Miami already. He doesn't necessarily got to play him today. Now, they got one more hard-hitting practice, and that's against Buffalo, and I think he should play that game. At least a quarter, you know. But that'll be up to Coach if he gives him a quarter or a half. We'll see how that go. I'm going to be interested to see what he chooses. And then that last game, yeah, definitely a half, you know. And then rock out what you cock out, man. See how that go. So, yeah, that's a little bit of my 2 cents. I keep up with the team quite extensively. I don't really talk about them too tough online. I guess because I'm not used to talking to nobody about them. You know, most people roast me for being a Bears fan, and that's totally fine. You know, they've been sorry my whole life. All right, that's cool. We had a few good years in there, here and there. Shout out Tay. Shout out to them boys, DDP. I've been watching their show for a long time too. The tape never lies, and it's because they don't never lie. They've been great at keeping it 100 for sure. I even subscribe to their Patreon. I think that I'm only subscribed to like 2 people's Patreon, theirs and a guitar dude. That's it. I don't mind supporting people who I like. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, man. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I want to see the center. It's very interesting. A lot of people to see. We see how they go. Luther Burden. Yeah. I'm excited to see my non-guy though.
Here's the part that I love about the day. This is a time where you really get to see kind of, okay, what are the nuts and bolts of your roster look like? Because as much as the stars are important, right? Finding that guy who's the glue guy on the defensive line, or the guy who just does his job really well in that linebacker room, or the guy who, just is on the defensive line setting the edge on a consistent basis, right? Like, those are the guys that you get excited about, because those are the guys that end up being, right, the glue or the nuts and bolts, if you will, of a championship team. We always talk about the stars on the team, but there's always those players that you kind of, this guy, he just does his job well. He just gets in there and he makes havoc. Or, he may not be the sack guy, but he's the guy that drives the quarterback into the sack guy. Finding those guys is incredibly important. Some of the names I think you got to be on the lookout for. When I asked Dennis Allen about Austin Booker, and you listen to my, kind of what it looks like for from your vantage point. When I asked Dennis Allen about Austin Booker, it sounded to me like you had to say something about a player that you're not that enthralled by, but you're not going to badmouth him to the media. We've seen this a couple of times. I said the same thing on how, DeAndre Swift was talked about by Ben Johnson. So, I don't know if that is the case. Again, I'm not saying that he's out on Austin Booker, but I think Austin Booker needs to have some pretty big games here for you to feel like, oh, Austin Booker's getting it. He understands where to be in Dennis Allen's defense and knows how to run it well enough that Dennis Allen can feel some confidence in him. I think somebody else that we're going to be watching for today, and something that's going to be huge, is the running back matchup. I would assume we're going to get a ton of Kyle Monungai today. Hey, have a day. I'm a big Monungai. I want to see him make this team. I want to see, and I think what's going to get
big
him
Monungai fan
is going to be the pass pro. It's the thing that you have to watch the most for. from the running back room, because it's one of the most important parts of this. Again, no block, no rock is Ben Johnson's mantra, and I think that applies to the running backs as well. We're seeing DeAndre Swift get involved in the blocking game a heck of a lot more this year. Listen, Roschon Johnson, that's what he was sold on. That's literally what one of the things coming out of college about him that was a guarantee was that this kid could go out there and pass block with the best of them. So incredibly excited to see what that's going to look like. Outside of that,
I'm
left
putting
tackle,
him on my fantasy team.
defensive end. I guess another one would be Ruben Hippolyte, seeing him in real game action. Excuse me. The Ruben Hippolyte relationship right now is an interesting one, because I've seen him now in camp look like the guy that I assumed that they wanted, right? He has the speed. He's able to track the ball down. He's much better in coverage than I thought when he came out of college. And he looks a heck of a lot better. But how's that going to translate onto a real football field? Case in point, I watched Bayless Jones all last season not fumble a single punt in training camp. I think he did fumble a single punt. And I think I could have.
Yeah.
But my point being, I watched this guy have a much, much better camp than you would think for a guy who then went out there on the first game of real action and fumbled the football. And I believe he fumbled in preseason as well. But anyway, I say all that to say, real game is very different than the training camps, even with how difficult training camp is, right? Having real eyes on you, have the lights on you, all of that stuff. Sometimes the lights are too bright. Very intrigued to see what Ruben Hippolyte's going to do when those lights truly do come on. All that being said, though, biggest goal of today, get out of today without any serious injury. Get out of today without anything that you have to worry about heading into the season. Some updates that we did talk about, right? Guys you got to watch for to see kind of where they're at. Kyler Gordon, he's banged up, and so we knew he wouldn't be out there with the starters anyway, but that hamstring injury, going to be interesting to see if we get an update on that today. Jalen Johnson is an update that I think we're all waiting for now, hearing till week 1 is pretty much when we would expect possibly to see him per Ben Johnson. So a lot to look forward to, a lot to look at.
Yeah, you're right, Pat. There's a lot to look at, Pat.
Because the ball goes to J.P. Richardson quite a bit. Or you'll identify one of the tight ends that he feels he's got, a little bit of continuity with. Or maybe it's Colston Loveland who's in the – he's trying to – He's trying to impress his coaching staff by where he's sending the football, because he's throwing the ball to guys he can rely on. So it's the nature of the beast when you're a backup quarterback in this.
I just love that whole conversation that you had with Tyson Bagent. I love his energy anyway, but when he talked about just how much it means to him, and he's like, look, I shouldn't even be
it's a
here.
great
Just the fact that I'm doing well in the NFL, it's crazy. And he's just so grateful, but he's also putting in the work. Like, he recognizes his role and how important that is. I remember before the season started last year, I asked him about being the longest tenured Bears quarterback in the room, and that's the situation he was in. Now he has somebody like Case Keenum, who is, Case steps up behind center, and you're like, okay, wow, yeah, you know what you're doing. Like, he's that presence as a veteran that they can glean so much from, and I just think it's a good room for where they're at right now.
I said earlier, I think everything that Ben Johnson does, he does with purpose, and
Absolutely.
There's a message and there's a meaning for it. And I think that the one player on this roster who had the most glowing compliment coming from the head coach was Tyson Bagent.
It was. And he feels like he's another coach. The accountability factor that we talked about. And there is nothing wrong, guys. I know Chicago or other people get made fun of because of the backup quarterback. Let's look at what New England did over the years. New England, with the greatest quarterback of all time, still had Matt Castle. And they still had Brian Hoyer. And then they had Jimmy G. On and on, they still took and developed quarterbacks. The Packers, for all those years, would have under Favre, under Rodgers, guys who would get traded. So there's nothing wrong with developing another one, too.
Well, think about it. It's a vicious sport. And the odds of your starting quarterback playing all 17 games, you hope it's 100%, but it's not. You don't want your season to end because your starting quarterback gets hurt. You want to trust that the guy that can come in, maybe he can't play at the same level as the starter, but your season isn't over because you had to replace the starting quarterback. And I have confidence that Bagent, can keep the rim
Right.
on the road.
To echo
Right.
what Courtney said, like when the head coach says this, he's super smart. They like what he's doing. He can do what Ben Johnson wants this offense to look like. Tyson Bagent can run it that way, and I think today we'll see some of that.
And he starts today, so we'll see a lot of Tyson.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we're going to get Who's Going to Rock. 312-332-3776 is one of our audience participation, fan participation segments. Who do you think, young guys, that you want to see rock? 312-332-3776. Let's pause 10 seconds right now for all of our stations to identify themselves. This is the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
This is the
All right.
WMVP, WTBC HD2, Chicago.
It's Bears in Miami here at Soldier Field. Who's going to rock coming up? And don't forget, at halftime, even in the preseason, I will take your calls. So keep that number handy. Get ready to call at halftime, 312-332-3776. We'll tell you the young guys that we want to see from today and perform well. We're at Soldier Field. It's Bears and Dolphins on the Chicago Bears Radio Network.
Yeah. All right, let me go ahead and try to record this thing together real quick. Finally lay it out. Where is that? Oh, screw that up. Run that back. All right. Gotta make it short too. It took too long for a dog to come in. All right. Okay, one more time. One more time, I got this shit. The whole sound out. You know what? Let me label these so I ain't confused. There. What? Yeah. Okay. now that I've labeled him, I can probably cue him off a little bit better. One more time so we can get back to the content. I'm gonna have to edit that shit somewhere. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut and edit that shit. That shit sound goofy by hell. Okay, back to what I was on before this. That synthesizer sound just ringing out, eh? It's just the ringing out, eh?
We're not doing this. So anyway,
Oof.
I'm having trouble, okay? So regardless, if you look at the motion of this weather, it's actually
right through Waukegan.
North. So it gets thinner as it moves north. It doesn't really look like weather itself until I want to say 1:45. So we'll be 2 halftime or past it at that.
Katie, can you cut this for post game in case he's right or wrong? I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because
family in Waukegan, y'all be safe. That's crazy. Oh, shout out to you, Ian. You having a good day, cuzzo. Bear down, even though somehow you a Giants fan. What? Until you get him. Until you hit him in the face. Hit him. Hit him.
if he tried to get pregnant. Well,
It didn't take you long to start snoring, me.
I was just sleepy, like snoring.
Sorry.
We can try again tonight.
Uh-huh.
We wasted a day of ovulation. I really want to go to.
Okay. Sounds good.
Huh?
All right. You said that.
No.
Yeah, that's twice a day.
Because I want to have a baby.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Get it? We'll talk about it when I'm not on the air. It's cute though.
New bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Absolutely love the blackjack dealers at Circa. Love you. Thank you. I can have lunch. All right. Shout out to our friends at Game Time. Game Time tickets is the best way to get your last minute deals. If you want to go see a historic performance today, aka 17 dominating, go on the Game Time app right now. Last minute killer deals, views from your seat, lowest price guarantee. That's right. Look, the zone deals are one of my favorite things at Game Time tickets. You can pick a seat in a section or pick a section, and you don't know your exact seat, but you know you're getting a huge discount on the value. It's awesome. Fees are also included up front, so no surprise at checkout. That's a good thing. Lowest price guarantee with Game Time. They'll give you 110% of the difference if you find a better price on any other app, which is sweet.
$24 to get into Soldier Field right now.
Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. So basically free. It'd be $4 right now. Terms apply. Again, create that account. CHGO, $20 off. Download
So many ads
today.
and commercials and all this other stuff, bro. Why I ain't talking about the games? What's wrong with y'all? All these ads.
Pass deflected. Like sometimes you need to bring in that competition to wake your ass up. So
absolutely,
goodness.
And it was clear. I think that was the thing. Like a lot of the backup cornerbacks that we did have can just mirror a lot of the stuff that Tyreek can do. Wright came out and said, "I could do things that your ass can't."
I want to see what
I can come out there I could be a playmaker as well.
I want to see what my boy Austin Booker does. Like he was the darling of last preseason in terms of the Bears drafting him out of Kansas and being on the opposite of Sweat in the draft. We were all kind of wondering if they would go get another pass rusher, and they really didn't. Booker's gonna have to step up, and in the preseason gonna be his time to shine.
I'm tired of talking about Austin Booker having all the energy in the world and chasing plays, but it's never no results, no production. I need to see
This is his
some
second
results.
year, though, right?
I don't care.
I think, but at the end of the day, like I still think, like that's still an important piece because if we're not getting that pressure, the quarterback is comfortable. So if you still getting like there's multiple play like Mason Crosby up until the last few years, that was his whole deal. He was there but couldn't finish the job. In the last 2 years, he figured it out, and that's why he got that
if
big ass
Montez
contract.
Sweat isn't doing his job, that makes Austin Booker's job that much more difficult as well. So both of those guys are going to have to step up this season. During the preseason, I'm looking at Austin Booker like, bro, you got to go out there and show us something.
There is no competition for CB1. You mean CB2, my boy, because nobody's passing up Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Forget that.
Especially if you just seen the TikTok drop. That nigga,
bro, Jalen Johnson motivated, bro.
Anyway,
Anyway,
he's underrated right now.
Yeah, I mean and underpaid. Bobby, what you excited for, brother?
Oh, and the defensive side of the ball again is gonna go to what we kind of reflect from what I'm expecting from the offense, the operation. And Kevin Byard came out and said that, hey, we seen how physical we can be in what they was calling the most physical practice in a long time. That's our floor. So I want to know if that's a trickle down effect. It shouldn't just be up to the starters to hold that ilk. It's because it's gonna be a rotation of players coming in and out of the game. It might be a injury here or a guy just need a breather there. And I want to see if these young guys are gonna hold that standard. That's how you start to build winning cultures throughout the off-season, mini camp, training camp. It has to be a trickle down effect. It can't be Montez Sweat and Dio only holding the thing. It's when Austin Booker comes in, Dominique Robinson. Hey, we don't know. We don't, bro. We've been, me personally, I've been like, hey, to hell with him, let him go, done. Dennis Allen is like, him and Austin Booker just got to put the fundamentals together and they will be really, really good. So let's see if you're starting to put those fundamentals together because your coaching staff is speaking highly of you. So here's now an opportunity, and I'm also going to be excited to see the situational awareness that Dennis Allen is going to display, even in this vanilla ass preseason game. It's going to be a huge difference, in my opinion. I'm hoping that I actually get to see it. You're not going to see a lot of it, but the situational awareness is huge for me when it comes to Dennis Allen and his defense. I'm excited to see it.
Is Billings still on this team?
Yes.
Yeah, he's hurt. He got hurt though.
Yeah. He hurt again?
He got hurt. He twisted the ankle. Now he did come back to practice. It's not like an injury. He's just hurt. But I'll probably expect not to see him much in this
last
preseason.
season when he went down. That changed the defense. Yeah,
we went down.
That changed the defense, and now we got him and the gentleman we picked up from Atlanta,
Grady Jarrett.
Grady Jarrett. I'm very excited to see how they do in the regular season, but man, because we needed him bad.
Yeah, I'm really expecting to see the ignorant side of our defense because I feel like for the last 2 years they've been showing it, but with our last coach wouldn't let us be ignorant. That's the thing. He wanted us to come up to job, shoot on, we're coming to the game, we're being professional. No, something about this defense now just telling me Dennis telling them to go whoop their ass.
It's a nasty.
And that's what I'm liking to see because it's not just a star, but it's trickling down. Like we've been hearing shit about Dominique Robinson. Hell, we've been hearing stuff about Noah Sewell. He didn't came up out the grave. Like it's a ton of people I'm looking at. Ruben Hippolyte, if he plays, a man at the linebacker position. Like there's so many people at this. I just want to see what's the word? The makeup of this team. Has it changed? Like is Dennis Allen's DNA all over? Because as of now, I'm seeing it, but I got to see it on the field.
I agree with you there. Like Austin Booker is definitely one. Him and Daniel Hardy both getting the opportunity with the starter sitting. I'm really excited to see Noah Sewell because we've heard so much about Noah Sewell and the way he's looking much better under Dennis Allen. I want to see that. But you know who I'm excited? Two people, and they're UDFAs. And I think that they both have a chance to make this team. One, maybe the practice squad, the other one, the actual roster. Power Echols at that middle linebacker spot after what he did in North Carolina, and Major Burns at the safety. Because if these two guys end up being undrafted free agents that can even be depth pieces off your bench for you, that goes so well for the Chicago Bears defense, and especially Power Echoes. We don't have a lot of depth at linebacker. We got TJ Edwards, we got Tremaine Edmonds, we got Noah Sewell, we got Ruben Hippolyte. But other than that, everybody else, Carl Jones, question. Amin, question. Power Echols can make this team. And if he does, when you look at what he did, he was the leader of that defense at North Carolina. And you talk about a middle linebacker. I know he's going to play more than middle linebacker here, but the guy was solid in the run game, solid in coverage. If he can bring a fraction of that consistently here to the Chicago Bears, it makes me feel a lot more comfortable about the depth that we have at linebacker.
That blue Kool-Aid or hypnotic, bro?
But that's the Incredible Hulk right there.
That's the Incredible
Hulk
got
right there, bro. That's
vodka. What
vodka.
You got? Blue carousel in that motherfucker?
Like what is? Why is it blue? That's the color of the
mystic.
glass.
I put some blue mystic in it. I ain't finna drink it raw.
That is the hoodest mixed drink ever, but I bet you it's fire, bro.
It's fire as hell.
I bet you it's fire.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought this nigga was drinking chlorine.
I drink everything straight, vodka and
Boy, I ain't had a mystic in years, bro.
Nigga, hey, boy, I can't find, bro. You know how hard it is to
gotta
find
go to any chicken restaurant.
You talk about any chicken
no,
restaurant.
but the thing is, they just put the same bitch ass 3 flavors. I want the coconut, I want the blue one. Like
I have an idea.
I had a drink when I was out there. It was Patron, Hennessy, Blue Carousel, and some Grand
Trinity.
Marnier. Nigga.
Nigga, you had blue for Trinity.
Bro,
He had
the
blue-
first one
he
you
had
didn't
blue
feel it at all.
Trinity.
That second one, I was like, hey man,
Yeah,
can I get some water?
body
Bro,
Can I get some water?
I'm
goes on that boat
actually
like-
on the Chicago River.
Exactly, bro. I'm sitting there like, is that the boat I'm in the water. What happened, bro? Like, yeah, that shit was real, bro. I'm sorry. Go ahead, though.
Hey, I figured something out with Dominique Robinson.
Okay.
And ask and tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Wrong about his name, but go ahead.
God
He said,
damn it,
"How'd you
Professor
say it?"
Kev.
I didn't even pick up on it this time.
He been saying dick for 20 minutes. It's
Dominique. Okay, Dominique Robinson. I figured him out. I figured that he's the best practice player in the world. Don't y'all remember? Don't y'all remember? Don't y'all remember? Like, what was that? Jesus Shuttlesworth movie, and the guy was just doing all type of crazy moves and by himself and shit, like
Man, he
practicing
got
by
game.
himself, hitting every shot and shit. Y'all know people like that back in the day, bro. That hit every practice shot, but when it comes to the real stuff, where to be found, they fall off. They can't do it. Dominique Robinson is a ghost football player. A ghost.
But see, here's the thing, though. I don't believe this coaching staff would keep using them if it was like they got to be showing something legitimate, bro.
Something they like, bro.
Because everybody knew this motherfucker was about to get cut, bro.
See,
and he's here.
I think what
He still might, though.
It's simple. This is the simple thing. It happens all the time. See the size, they see the skill, and see the speed. It's just like, dude, why when it's a nigga in front of you?
Now, I will say this: he's a prototypical Dennis Allen type of player. That's why he's still on his roster. Like Dennis Allen, like big linemen, and he want to see if he can unlock him, so to speak. So maybe Dennis Allen is the key to opening that door.
So he's the
That
key.
nigga said that boy like he's built just like Chase Young, but I think I get more out of him. Chase Young don't stay on the field.
Ooh, talking about 151 was
You know what Dominique Robinson reminds me of? Y'all know how like when Zach LaVine is in practice, the handles look amazing until he's in the actual game and he bounces it off his foot.
Bro, he dropped the ball.
Like if you just you can tell Zach LaVine watched all the N1 tapes when he was growing up, because the man's handle in open gyms is bananas. You put anybody in front of him, you're like, oh shit.
His rating dropped like 20% when the real game started.
It's crazy, bro.
On my mama. Outside, he Philip Champion. He's Zach in the NBA. He definitely just Zach.
That's hot sauce for you guys who don't.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's hot sauce.
Man, anything left? Well, I know we usually talk about special teams, but you want to talk about your favorite kick, your favorite position?
Hey,
kickers,
bro, shout out. Hey, look, shout out to special teams. I just seen the greatest kick ever. I think yesterday he kicked that motherfucker 70 yards.
Crazy 70 yards is crazy, bro.
And it looked like he could have got 75.
He looked like he could have got 75 yards.
Bro, they gonna drug test bro's foot after the game.
They gonna drug test his foot.
Just the foot.
They got that motherfucker. They got that motherfucker straight from Argentina.
That is hilarious, bro. But no, I mean, overall, just excited for this game. We'll see what the Bears do today, man. There's gonna be a little bit of extra edge. I wouldn't be surprised. Go ahead.
One more thing. What's y'all thoughts on the end zone? It's Navy now.
I like it. Anything that adds identity, bro. Like I like it, bro.
I haven't seen it.
Y'all saw y'all also saw that they not doing the orange jerseys this season.
Oh.
Thank you. Now another thing, have y'all seen?
And reportedly,
have y'all
Virginia wasn't a
that
fan of the
big-ass-
orange jerseys either. So my question is, why the hell was we using them?
I don't know why we wanted to look like Clemson so bad.
George
I really
defying
don't.
his mama.
You look like
Now I
for
want
real.
that logo on Drip shirt. I want them to put that at the 50-yard line.
I want
That's
them
what
to
I
put it
want.
on the helmet, bro. I know it's never gonna happen. The C's too
Yeah.
iconic. I want the bear on the side of the
Now,
helmet.
did y'all?
bro.
How about we do this though? That fat ass patch we got on the jersey, we could put that on the field. Cause I'm not wearing that jersey. It might be for Virginia. I love you, but I'm not. That's a fat ass patch right next to that.
Bro, we
number.
gotta
I'm
show
sorry.
us some love,
It
bro.
don't
We gotta
look
show us
good.
some love, bro.
You can't put it on the back of the helmet. I don't know shit. That
I
is
see.
ugly, bro. Like you got a fat ass areola on the side of your nipple. Like what the fuck would you want that?
Shout out to the people with side areolas, though. I've known a couple of chicks that had side areolas. Shout out to them.
Wait a minute. What?
Jessica, right? Jessica somewhere like.
Motherfucker. Let's go, man. We
All
here.
right, let me stop before I get us canceled, man. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to the pre-show. The pregame show, man. C-Dub, the fellas gonna be live on the live call. We'll be all here live for the post-game show as well. Any thoughts or anything, fellas, before we close it down?
30 minutes, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. We got Bears at 30, baby. Hey, get you some dill pickle, bro. Dill pickle lays, bro.
Those are
Can't be.
fire.
Nigga, they don't offer us.
Hey, no, you gotta try to.
Do you go to Sonic and get the deal combo with the deal?
All right, this is some good stuff. This is good talk. These are my favorites.
Anyway,
changes like the weather, Tom.
No,
I know, J-Man.
No, I am nothing but consistent. I am consistent. I'm durable. I'm reliable. I'm accountable.
That was you were in
all the stuff that Ben Johnson showed you as the offensive coordinator of the
for the Bears. And guys, happy football.
Happy football to you.
Yeah.
I am kind of
Ready?
excited. I think so.
Yeah?
I mean, it's August. We're sweating. It's great. I love being back here. I love this particular moment in time as the stadium starts to come to life. Preseason or not, there is energy to that, and I'm excited about it. I am anxious to see Ben Johnson in a game situation today and how he
New
manages
territory.
it. Yeah.
It's time to get some work done. Whether you're a young player or you're the new head coach of the Chicago Bears, I loved this part of the season because, especially as a young player, this was my opportunity to go out there and prove that I was worthy of being on an NFL roster. So keep an eye on the young guys today. Everyone can use the work, but you're right, Dee. And not only the young players, but the head coach has never done this before. So keep an eye on that as well.
So what do you guys expect? And let's talk broad terms here, then we'll zoom in on some of the players playing. We'll talk about why maybe Ben Johnson doesn't want to play them, even if we agree or disagree. But what are we expecting, guys, from Ben Johnson, year number one, after all the hype, after all the want from many fans to bring him in as the Bears head coach?
I think we see a level of intensity from those guys fighting for the spot. They always have a little bit more because they're trying to prove something, but I feel like Ben Johnson's kind of made that their identity already. He made it very clear what the expectations are. So I expect to see a lot of fight from some of these younger players, a lot of aggressive, especially to start. I feel like preseason is like that sometimes where you're really like jump out of the gate really fast and then you realize, okay, it's preseason. But at the same time, I think we're going to see a lot of that energy early and that intensity because that's a reflection of the way the head coach has started this training camp.
I think you're going to see a lot of that on defense.
Yeah,
I really think you're going to see a aggressive style of defense. Now, again, you're not going to see the majority of the starters, but Dennis Allen has come here and brought an aggressive style. I think you will see that, whether it's from twos or threes. I don't think that they're going to hold a lot back. Now, you go on the other side of the ball offensively. I think what they're still trying to do is master the procedural issues that exist. So I don't think you're going to see the razzle-dazzle and the fumble-rooski and all of the, throwing the football to your right tackle and a tackle eligible, all the stuff that Ben Johnson showed you as the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. I think what you're going to see is them try to get the basics. And I think you're going to see a young quarterback in Tyson Bagent who does have a pretty firm grasp of what they're asking him to do. So my expectation is the procedural stuff will look pretty clean.
Yeah, and we've seen it, guys. Dion, I know you were out in Napa Valley drinking wine this week. While Waddle and I were putting in the heavy lifting for the show, watching practices. We were there for the heavy practice on Tuesday. To me, it was the most entertaining Bears practice that I've seen in several years with lots of stuff happening. They obviously went live on Friday. I heard one of the Dolphins players say that to them it was the most physical dual joint practice that they've been a part of in the years that the Dolphins have been doing this. But so far, and I know he hasn't coached a game, everyone likes to say that, but every step of the way, guys, I think we've been not pretty, I, at least for me, have been really happy with what I've seen from the head coach.
Now, word of this most physical
I'm with you,
practice in the last
Sylvan.
decade did make its way out.
I
to
moved you all the way,
California.
Sylvia.
I heard this. It did, yes. And I.
So you're
keep
saying you had
being-
cell service out
I
there?
I did,
you?
yes,
Okay.
and I was paying attention,
Right.
which is incredible. But at the same time, I wonder, like we've watched practices in the past and wondered why it wasn't more intense like that, and why they weren't preparing for the season in that manner. And it can't be different until it looks different now, right? Like the season can't be different until it looks different now. And that's what he's done. He's made it look different now. It's made more sense. Practice has made more sense. It makes sense that they're hitting that way. Now, I know it's not going to look the way it did when you were a player, Tom, but at the same time, I don't think it should be, it's not a negative
No.
that they're pushing each other around a little bit more and getting ready for the season. I remember distinctly last year in the dog days of training camp, standing on the sidelines and watching the Bears do the exact same thing on the practice field and wondering, like, what is happening? Why is nobody doing anything? That I want the opposite of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not allowed to practice the way we did back in the leather helmet days. And they shouldn't. You know, I always like to say, regardless if it's a sports-related item or just life in general, the truth usually lies somewhere in the middle. So I don't think that NFL training camps are hard enough. But NFL training camps 20 years ago were too hard because you weren't fully healthy when you got to the opening game of the season. Unfortunately, I missed the Tuesday practice. From what I understand, Sylvie can speak to this because he saw that practice and the joint practice with the Dolphins. But that practice on Tuesday was a doozy. And I actually think there's a method to everything that Ben Johnson does.
Correct.
And I believe that it was intentional so that when they did line up Friday against another team, they were already ready to hit somebody, to punch them in the mouth and to receive a punch in the mouth, and it wasn't something that was going to shock them. I was a little surprised. I didn't think the joint practice with the Dolphins was nearly as physical as I was expecting it to be. But again, you have to understand time and place. NFL training camps in 2025 are they're a lot different than they used to.
You know, didn't Ryan Poles say on this in his conversation with you guys about one of the things that they all liked about Ben was that he came in with this plan for like he had a schedule for training camp for every step of the way, and I think he's following that to this point because he's basically started over, done a reset with Caleb Williams, and he's still getting to know him and making sure he's doing the right processes and taking the right steps, and so he's following that plan to this point, and I think part of that was not playing him in the first preseason game.
Well, I think he's hit every note, and I've been effusive with I've overloved maybe in some people's estimation. I just think he was the right guy for the job. I'm thrilled that he is their head coach. I still believe their starter should play today, but that's a story or a conversation for a later time. But I think Ben has everything he has done has been done with a purpose, and I couldn't be more thrilled with what I have seen to this point with how they go about their business. It needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah,
I'm not going to
absolutely.
lie to you and say, hey, it's all blue skies and sunshine. There's a lot of stuff procedurally, offensively that needs to be cleaned up. But the method to me makes so much sense.
So, and I observed Caleb throwing out there. And one thing that, and you'll hear it later in the show too, when Ben goes one-on-one with Jeff Joniak. But and I'm not a fan of this either, but this is the first time. And there will be many more where we won't agree with the head coach. But I believe the way he thinks what they want to do is he thought Caleb and a lot of the starters will get heavy reps today before the game, and then they're going to get this full big practice again. I'm hoping that it will be like a Tuesday level practice like we saw last week tomorrow. And if they played today, probably tomorrow would just be a walkthrough, right? So I think what they're thinking is reps today, non-game, heavy reps tomorrow, hopefully contact equals more than just series today. Again, I don't agree with it. You may not agree with it, Waddle, but I think that's what he's after right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was watching them as well, and the reps were just basically mental reps. There was obviously some physical activity, but they're just throwing on air with individual receivers.
Shorts and T-shirts.
Yes. So, that looks great, but when you get punched in the mouth, the route changes, the visual from the quarterback changes, whatever. Again, I'm going to ride with Ben Johnson. I would have liked to have seen the guys today, but at the very least, the starters are not just sitting around eating sunflower seeds an hour and a half before the game. They're actually out there getting something done.
I appreciated that Caleb said too. He wants those game-like reps before you get to Monday night. He does need them, but I think is aware of that as well. That it's not been super smooth, which How do we feel about that 3 weeks in? I think it should look a little bit more consistent. Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
unsettled would be the word that I would
Unsettled,
use
yeah,
about
well,
it.
that's
Not
inconsistent.
panic.
Okay,
You know,
no,
I mean,
no.
we live in this environment, this this social media environment where it's got to be all one way or all the other way. It's got to be great or it's got to be horrible. I think they're probably where they thought they would be at this point. The install is going to be difficult. I mean, this is a complicated offense. They're using terminology that some of the guys aren't used to. So, that's the process that I think will take some time. But they want to get to the point is where it all becomes second nature.
1,000%.
And you can just go out and play. And that's going to take them a little bit of time.
Yeah, well, I think that's the hard part is that we want it to all work so fast, and
Yeah.
we're so eager to say, oh, we see it, a glimpse of it, and maybe we haven't seen that yet, and that has to be okay.
Some of the procedural stuff, you'll still see some of those, there are going to be some mistakes. What I don't want to see and what I have very little tolerance for is physical mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, some of this stuff may not look perfect, but if you get hit in the hands with the ball, catch it. If you got to block a defensive end, block it. If you got to tackle a running back, tackle him. So while you still learn the ins and outs of the system, football's still a basic sport.
Facts,
So do the physical things well, and don't get overloaded with some of the mental stuff that ultimately leads you to make physical mistakes. So it'll take a little bit of time, but I'm expecting this to look smoother sooner rather than later.
We're going to hopefully see, I would assume we're going to see Ozzie Trapillo. So,
I hope so.
Let's talk about the left tackles coming up in a little bit. Tom Thayer is going to be joining us next. And this is the Advantage Dealer Group pregame show on the Chicago Bears radio network. Find your next Chevy, Acura, or Toyota and drive off in under 60 minutes, or they'll make your first car payment. That's who you have your car through, the Advantage Auto Group, correct,
the
Dion?
best. It's the best. I love my Acura.
That's
love it, love it.
And that's how Dion got here. We will find out how Thayer got here. He was here again bright and early, like texting pictures of the field at like 5:30 in the morning.
It was insane. It was very early.
The early bird gets the worm. So it's Bears and Dolphins preseason game number 1, but more importantly, game number 1 for Ben Johnson on the Chicago Bears radio network.
Miller Lite, the legendary light beer, the originator, the inventor. If this beer could talk, it'd tell stories.
Got that one to see, my guy.
At night.
Got that one to see, yeah. Baby. Okay.
There we go.
Got that Tyria keyboard. Real dope. It would do.
Snagged out of the air. Jalen Johnson with the interception to midfield to the 45 of the Vikings.
Hell yeah! Let's go!
Unsportsmanlike conduct by Chicago number 6 for taking his helmet off.
I remember that.
What? Calm down. Come back. Hold on. We got you. Broke completely off there.
thing. I'll bring it right down to you.
What happened? He ripped my helmet off when I was driving him out of bounds. I see your face mask. Yeah.
Snagged out of the air. Jalen Johnson with the interception to midfield to the 45 of the Vikings.
That nigga mad, or he was mad, boy. Look at that.
Yo, what's up? This is Metro Boomin. I'm in my studio right now in Los Angeles, and I'm gonna show you on my razor blade how I tune my 808s and lay my bass lines out. First, before I start, I want to talk about how important it is, you know, keeping your 808s in certain keys. Of course, you can have them in whatever key you want, but the 808 is basically, it's an instrument itself. So it's better for you to keep it in key with the rest of your beat. It flows better, it sounds better, it doesn't sound out of place and random, you know? It's smooth, it's music. Here's my 808. So the 808's already in the same key as the melody, so they should flow together. So you basically get the picture with that. I use a lot of sounds and like a broad range of things in my beats, but a lot of the little like main go-tos, just quick stuff that I already know in my brain where they are in Nexus. I've really used Nexus since I started making beats. I really don't tell anybody too much anything I do.
Right.
I like to be real, like,
Yeah.
real secretive and possessive about that. But this bass line that I used in this beat, I pretty much use it a lot in a lot of my beats. I Won by Future and Kanye West. I Won Skyfall by Travis Scott. A lot of various songs. I just love the way it sounds. I love the tone of it. I'm gonna give you guys that one. That's out of Nexus. Over here in the Dance Volume 1 expansion pack called Prid's Sidechain Bass. That's really like my go-to bass line, like when I'm making a beat. Now my beats, you know, I usually love having points where like a bass line will break down. So I have that here in this beat. You know, I like to switch back and forth between with them, play with it, you know. I'll play you what I got for the bass line on this one. I actually have a synth following the same lead as the bass line. Yeah, if you really listen, you can notice the 808, the tail of it has spilled over into the sub and like create like a wobbly, like distortion and noise. I don't know if you can really hear it. Let me play it one more time. It doesn't really start on point. So to fix that, what I always do, and I've done it since the beginning of me making beats, whatever the bass line's on or the 808, vice versa, whatever, the cut, you go over here on to your plugin, click the miscellaneous tab, and whatever it's cut by, so this says cut 5x5, I go over to the 808. This is on 16 by 16, so I just match that and put it 5x5, and it'll cut exactly when the next thing plays. So as the bass line plays, the 808 will just completely shut down, and it'll just be.
They call them
nice
chokes
and
too.
clean and start. it just came straight in without any of the mess. That's basically how I lay my bass lines down and keep my 808s in pocket and in key with the rest of my track.
Let's put up that FL Studio. What? Oh, that. All right. Well, I'm finna do some stuff, y'all. I'll be back in a little bit. I'll hold it down for the time.